"1991, Bob Weiner called me and said, would you talk to a group of pastors in Dallas about Russia and what God is doing there? I had been on the field in Russia for several years during the Cold War. I flew to Dallas, and there were several pastors there. One of them's name was Mike Bickle. And Mike asked me to, at the end of my talk on Russia, asked me if I would come to Kansas City to a fellowship that they had there, and I agreed to do it. And I went up and spoke to the elders of the Kansas City Fellowship, and a man walked up to me from the back. I didn't know who he was. Somebody told me later he was a prophet. He had holes in his jeans. His shirt didn't reach all the way to the pants. And he turned to Mike and he said, Pastor, this is the man we're going to give $1 million to. I looked at him and I said, yeah, sure. But I could tell Mike was serious. He said, oh, is it Terry? He said, yes, it is. They'd had a word in that church 2 years before that they were going to plant a huge seed in missions. And the man talking to me, his name was Bob Jones. And he said, I saw this man in a vision this morning. And we talked over what he had to say, and Mike looked at me and said, we're having a conference here in about another 6 weeks. Would you come and share about Russia and the open door, because the wall had just come down in Berlin. So I agreed to do that, and I came to the conference I believe it was a Thursday morning. There were maybe 5,000 to 6,000 people in the audience. And Mike asked me to come up and tell the folk the opportunity we had. So I talked for about 45 minutes. Mike got up, took the offering, never pushed anybody to do anything. And frankly, I must admit that I didn't believe what was going to happen. O ye of little faith, I guess, is my moniker at that moment of the day. But when I saw the ushers come out in the Coliseum and put 3 16-foot tables across the front, believing that they would be taking a large offering, it wasn't the tables that got me. It was the fact that the guys who brought out the tables were packing heat. They were all carrying guns. When I saw the guns, my faith kicked in. I said to myself, they believe they're going to get $1 million here. That's when the light went on. And, wow, the people got up weeping. Your pastor was there, Pastor Rick, and he and several others saw Jesus on the roof of the building as the gift of giving came on that crowd. And they walked forward. They put $1,150,000 on those 3 tables up front. It's the first $1 million offering I'd ever seen in my life. And we took that money. We put 5 million Bibles on the ground in Russia. This is back now in 1991. And but I have a long history with you as a people, although you didn't know who I was. And, well, thank God for Bob Jones, and thank God for Rick Joyner. If somebody says, what would you do if you had $1 million? We put it all in literature on the ground in Russia, and God has blessed us from that moment to this. I'm going to ask, Pastor, if you could open that bottle of water for me. My throat's a little dry this morning. Thank you. I've written a brand new book. It's just come out. If you want to hear exciting stories like that and a whole bunch of others, the book is called Storm Chaser. And Pastor Rick and I have done a couple of television shows this last several days. And the book will be advertised on the program.